Where are we? We're talking about the benefits of bodhicitta. We're about to start into that, okay? Okay, so let's see. How should we do this? As we mentioned last time, I don't know how many of you were here. There's 10 benefits of bodhicitta that is described in a particular text called Manjushu's Own Words. This presentation of the 10 benefits is not in the Lamrim channel. But anyway, we'll go through it. So it's not in this outline, and it's not explicitly in the other outline of the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, but I'm going to talk about it, okay? So first, teaching that the only way to enter the Mahayana is to develop bodhicitta. This is what we have talked about, that they call the mind, or the spirit of enlightenment, the gateway or the soul door to enter the Mahayana. Just like that is the only door, to get into the center. What determines whether someone is a Mahayana practitioner or not is the presence of bodhicitta. If one has bodhicitta, one is a Mahayana practitioner. If one does not have bodhicitta, although one might have all sorts of other good qualities, clairvoyances, direct realization into shunyata, or the ultimate nature of reality, without bodhicitta, then one does not qualify as a Mahayana practitioner. And actually what that also means is then even those activities that one undertakes that is not conjoined with bodhicitta, it will not become the cause for the attainment of enlightenment. Okay? Okay, so 2. You will gain the name Child of the Victors. So this is talked about in the 9th stanza of Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra, where it says, the moment an awakening mind arises, and those fettered and weak in the jail of cyclic existence, they'll be named a child of the Sugatas and will be revered by both humans and gods of the world. Okay? So, child of Sugatas. Sugata is another epithet for Buddha. And then, child, it's like one has then entered into the lineage of the Buddhas, right? Just as a child of the king, a prince, they've entered into the lineage, the royal lineage. Then, as it says in the ceremony to generate the mind of bodhicitta, after one generates it, you say, today I've been born into the Buddha's race, right? Okay. So 3rd, you outshine the Shravakas and Prateka Buddhas. Okay, so here's some more terminology. Sorry. Shravaka means hearer. Prateka Buddha is, they translate it as solitary realizer. So these 2 are types of beings who've attained personal liberation for oneself alone. Now, the so-called etymology of the hearer, so like the main disciples of Buddha were hearers. And what that means is they hear the teachings of Buddha, right? Practice it, and then on that basis, attain personal liberation in that life. Okay? Yeah. They also, although, you know, they will still hear the Mahayana teachings, right? They might even explain the Mahayana teachings to others, but they don't themselves practice it. And therefore, you know, they just hear it, explain it to others, you know. So, Subhashini. I'm actually not in any stanza now. Okay? As I mentioned, these 10 outlines are from Manjushi's own words. So it's not explicitly in the Lamrim, nor is it in the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. Okay? Okay, so that's Shravakas, yes. Pratyeka Buddha. So the Pratyeka Buddha, solitary realizer, although in their kind of title there is the word Buddha, they're actually not Buddhas. Okay. But what they do is, you know, as opposed to the hearers, in their last life when they are to attain nirvana, they do so in a place where no Buddha exists. No Buddha is giving teachings. And so just kind of, they train for a long time. You know, in a previous life, they've heard teachings and explanations from Buddha. But they then train for a longer period of time and make special aspirations because they actually have some, when they start off on the path, they still have some quite strong pride. And so they want to be like, you know, well, if I attain nirvana when, like, the Buddha's in the world, you know, he's getting the most kind of reverence and, you know, props in the world. So I want to attain nirvana when there's no Buddha appearing, so I'll be like, you know, more special. Okay? They have that type of pride at the beginning of the path. They abandon it, but anyway, that's what they do. So in their last life, when they attain nirvana, they do so in a place and a time when no Buddha exists and is teaching. But in any case, both of them are, you know, bereft. They don't have the mind of bodhicitta, right? They just both attain a type of personal liberation. Okay? So, then, the third benefit of bodhicitta, you outshine the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. So that means even the very first second, you know, when one attains bodhicitta, okay, at that time, you know, as Shantideva was saying here, right, those fettered and weak in the jail of psychic existence, okay, so even though they are, remember, what is the cause of psychic existence? Karma and afflictions, afflictive emotions, right? So these beings, they haven't abandoned the afflictions, okay? You know, these bodhisattvas, the moment they attain the mind of bodhicitta, they're still in samsara, right? They still will take rebirth according to their karma and afflictions. Whereas these Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, they've attained liberation from samsara. They're no longer reborn that way. However, even the bodhisattva, the first day, the first moment they attain bodhicitta, they outshine the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. Why? Because of the superiority of the lineage that they're in. So in the Sutra of the 10 Grounds, yeah, then the Buddha gives an analogy of, you know, the moment the prince is born, right, he, from the standpoint of his lineage, since he's the prince, he is more kind of exalted then even the very learned ministers and other people in the government, you know, who are learned and wise and all that, but they're not in the lineage of the king. Therefore, the prince is more exalted. So, in the same way, even these, you know, newly born bodhisattvas outshine the Shravakas and Pradika Buddhas. Okay? Then 4, you become a supreme object of offering. So, right. As it said in the Sangata Sutra and other sutras, right? Then, you know, there are certain factors that make our virtuous actions or our negative actions strong or comparatively strong or comparatively weak. One of those factors is the object of that action. You understand? So here, in general, they talk about the object of the action being, you know, either what they call the field of qualities, the field of kindness, or the field of suffering. So I think Nagarjuna explains this in the letter to the friend. Anyway, so the field, let me talk about the others two first, okay? So the field of kindness can be like our parents or our teachers, not necessarily our spiritual teachers, but even, you know, our school teachers and so forth. Because they have been very kind to us, right, then actions that we undertake in accordance with, in relation to them, become very powerful. This is why, you know, although killing a human being is very, very heavy negative karma, killing one's father or mother is what they call one of the 5 uninterrupted negative karmas. If you do that, if one does that, then one in the next life is definite to be reborn in the Narak, the hell realms. Okay? Whereas, you know, just merely killing a human being, and sorry, I'm not recommending any of this, I'm just saying, yeah, merely killing a human being, then, you know, it's indefinite. Okay? Understand? So then, the field of suffering means, you know, people who are, you know, very sick, suffering a lot, very poor, and so forth. So, you know, someone who is very poor, like, you know, 100 rupees to them is a big deal, right? It's not to, well, very rich people, right? Yeah. So, therefore, because they're in such a disadvantaged condition to begin with, then helping them, benefiting them, gives a stronger ripening or force to the karma than giving to someone else who is not in that disadvantaged state. Okay? And then lastly is the field of qualities. So here, you know, the Sangha, and then, you know, even people in the Hinayana, you know, these Arhats, these Pratyeka Buddhas, and so forth. So then it's explained, you know, one gets like more and more benefit by making offerings, you know, respectively to just regular Sangha members, right, with no particular level of realization, and then to various stages on the Hinayana path, and then Bodhisattvas, and then finally Buddhas, and then even better, more powerful is our direct gurus. Okay? Anyway, so that's what it means, a supreme object of offering. Okay? Then you amass an enormous accumulation of merit with ease. Okay? So this now is basically, right? Yeah. Yeah, you know, you can just see in Shantideva here, 21 and 22, right? So, if even the thought to relieve living creatures of merely a headache is a beneficial intention endowed with infinite goodness, then what need is there to mention the wish to dispel their inconceivable misery, wishing every single one of them to realize boundless good qualities? Okay? So the point is here, and you'll see in other texts, right? Because this mind of bodhicitta is essentially the wish to attain enlightenment so you can be of utmost benefit for all sentient beings, it's as if our merit is then, or positive karma is then multiplied by all sentient beings. Okay? It's like, it just becomes that much more powerful. And so, in another text it says that, you know, even reciting one mantra of Om Mani Padme Hum, right, with conjoined with the mind of bodhicitta is 100,000 times more beneficial than reciting it without. Understand? Because there is this, the supremacy in the motivation. Okay? So, next. What number benefit am I on?
6.
6, yes. Thank you. You rapidly purify sins and obscurations. Okay? So this is this again is, well, it's alluded to in verse 6, right? Virtue is perpetually feeble, the great strength of immorality being extremely intense, except for a fully awakening mind, by what other virtue will it be overcome? So, you know, although we've accumulated negative actions in the past due to our, ignorance and so forth, then actually even killing one's father or mother, I said before, would necessarily land us in the lower realms, right? In our next life, in the hell realms. Well, actually in the Mahayana teachings, it says that still those could be purified, okay? Because everything is a dependent arising. So even our negative karma depends on other causing conditions. And therefore, before the ripening effect arises, then certain purification practices can be made, and one then would not have to experience the suffering result. Yes. But the best way then to purify is the mind of bodhicitta, great compassion. Okay? And you would know many, maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't know. There's many stories like this, including the story of the great Indian master Asanga. Yes? Asanga? No? Okay. And Maitreya. So anyway, as the story goes, Asanga was, very great master, great scholar, composed many texts. Anyway, he was doing retreat and meditating on the future Buddha, Maitreya, the Buddha who will be the next one to come to earth. And well, see, Asanga was studying the Prajnaparamita Sutras, and Maitreya actually wrote, or well, yeah. Yeah. Actually, the timeline is a little bit off. Anyway, Asanga was trying to gain insight into the Prajnaparamita Sutras and therefore was meditating on Maitreya for his help. But for 12 years was not getting any signs of spiritual progress. At a few instances he thought to give up. And well, after every 3 years he left his cave thinking to quit, but he would have a certain experience, witness something that would then give him kind of bolster his resolve to continue to practice. Anyway, at one time he sees someone with a pile of needles next to him and with a big kind of iron block, like rubbing it with a piece of silk. He asks him, "What are you doing?" He says, "Oh, I'm making needles." So he thinks, "Oh wow, you know, if that guy, how much effort does he have to do to grind down? It's like, you know, the mountain and the eon, right? So if he's doing that to make needles, of course, I can put in more effort with my meditation practice." Anyway, so there's certain signs like this, and at the end of 12 years, he's finally had it. He comes out, and he sees a female dog, right, who has a big sore on her back, and Asanga is motivated, or overcome with compassion for the dog, goes there and wants to sort of clean the wound, and then sees that the wound is kind of festering with maggots. And so he wants to clean, but he thinks, oh, if I clean this wound, then the maggots will die. Right? Well, they won't have any thing to eat. Okay? So he cuts flesh from his own leg, right? And he's going to transfer the maggots to his own flesh, so they wouldn't perish. Then he thinks, well, if he tries to grab the maggots from the dog with his hands, he might, you know, squish them and kill them. So then he thinks, okay, well, but if I use my tongue, you know, to change them, then, you know, it's soft, and therefore they'll survive. So he, you know, is about to go down, you know, and start transferring the maggots with his tongue, and then Maitreya is there. You understand? No, you don't. So actually, Maitreya, the Buddha Maitreya, was there the whole time. But due to the karmic obscurations of Asanga, you know, who is already a very accomplished practitioner, he could not see Maitreya in the form of a Buddha, and actually only saw, you know, this dog. And so actually Asanga was also very astounded and said, okay, Maitreya told Asanga, well, okay, carry me on your shoulder into the town. Okay? So when they then went to the town, no one could even see that Asanga was carrying anything at all. One person saw maybe that he was carrying, what, an old woman, right? Something like this. Okay? So anyway, this story is very tasty. There's a lot to get into, but for now, there's two things that we should keep in mind. Okay. One is, right? I mean, the main point, as it is here, right, that this mind of compassion, the mind of Bodhicitta, is the strongest thing for purification, right? Even though he had been doing a retreat for the 12 years up into that time, it was only when, you know, in a one kind of very strong burst of compassion, all that purification happened that he could then see Buddha. Right? But the second thing that's important is always to keep in mind that how things appear to us doesn't necessarily accord with reality. You see? So, one, we can apply this to, let's say, our own gurus, right? Whereby, you know, it is said that now, in this age, our gurus appear in an ordinary form, right? Ordinary form means a form having mistakes, right? So like the Dalai Lama, for example, you know, he'll take an aspect of saying, oh, I forget, or, you know, it doesn't appear that he's a Buddha, let's just say, right? Right? He gets sick, he, you know, will sneeze and blow his nose, right? Yeah? And by the way, even just merely because we say the Buddha is omniscient, even merely saying, I don't know, means that he's not taking the aspect of a Buddha to us, right? But that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, right? It's as much dependent on, you know, the so-called object out there as it is on our own karma that determines what appears to our mind. Right? Then, in a similar way, well, even the people that we relate to on a day-to-day basis, the people who get on our nerves, we also don't know. You know, we don't know. They could be Buddhas, you know, appearing in this way. In some texts, you'll see that, you know, Maitreya was appearing in the form of a dog to help Maitreya develop compassion. Oh, sorry. Asanga. Yes. You understand? Sorry. Maitreya was appearing in the form of a dog to help Asanga generate compassion. Okay? I mean, the other explanation is, you know, it was just, Maitreya was always there, but due to his karmic obscurations, couldn't see Maitreya as Maitreya, therefore saw a dog. I think both are, you know, have their... It's okay to think in both ways, right? So similarly, you know, it could happen that the Buddhas would appear as a beggar, so we can practice generosity. Could appear as a, you know, very irritating person to help us develop patience and tolerance. Could appear as someone who criticizes us, you know, many times and in public, to teach us something and to give us an opportunity to cultivate necessary spiritual qualities, you know. In this very text, when it talks about the development of patience, it says, you know, if everyone treated us like a Buddha, you know, if everyone was totally perfect and totally nice to us all the time, you know, then actually we could not develop patience, which is, by the way, one of the 6 paramitas, the essential practices of bodhisattvas that lead to enlightenment. So for sure, there are Buddhas who appear, in a very annoying aspect, or very critical to us, and all this, get on our nerves, right? For sure that's happening, And so it was one of the kind of advices of the Tibetan Kadampa Geshes to, just think that everyone is a Buddha. And when they annoy us, or criticize us, or whatever people do, then think, oh yes, the Buddha, or even better, my Guru is appearing in this way now to give me an opportunity to develop, and you fill in the blank. Wow. It's difficult to do, but it's a little bit tasty, because sometimes, all the rest of the stuff in Shantideva, it's like, okay, what else does Shantideva say? The person hits us with a stick. Do we get mad at the stick? No, we get mad at the person. Why? Because the person is wielding the stick. Okay, similarly, that person is wielded by his or her afflictive emotions. Okay, there's many, and we'll get to it later, but there's many ways we can practice tolerance, patience, and so forth. But this one, when we kind of, combine it with the Guru or the Buddha, it's a little bit more tasty for us. Well, depends on our faith in the Buddha. But it can be, right? To think automatically, like, this person is getting on my nerves. It's my Guru appearing in this form. Then, difficult to get mad at the Guru, right? So, okay. So now, point A. You got that? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Depending on, you see, I just gave a very Tibetan style teaching just there, right? You guys understand, right? This, or maybe Japanese, right? If you're a little bit intelligent, you take it one step further and you understand the deeper significance, but we don't say it. So everyone, no one loses face, right? The Japanese do that. The Tibetans also do that, right? Don't criticize or say things in the open. That's not the American way, by the way. But, we can do like that, right? So, then, if people don't get the kind of hinting, then you have to be direct, right? So sometimes I have been direct. But now since there's many new people coming, I'll revert back to Japanese way. Dozo yoroshiku. Okay.
How do you do it in an indirect?
What's that?
How do you do it? Like, how do you give hints?
How do I what?
Give hints in an indirect way.
No, that's what I've just been doing. No, did you not get?
Yeah, we got it.
That's fine. So she would understand the context had she been, being there quite not used to it. Yeah.
Ale.
That's fine.
No.
Take it offline, it's fine. We can continue.
No. Okay, well, can we say? Okay, I'll be direct about it then, okay? we just saw before the break, there's a little bit of,
Yeah.
Sparkling water, not still water. It was a little bit bubbly. Okay? So basically, I can either say, I can say many ways, but what I'm getting at is, these people, if they saw each other as their guru appearing in the way that either is doing, and you fill in the blank, then you wouldn't get so upset, right?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
I did not get the part where you said that you want to critique someone, you would do it indirectly.
I think, no, so that is that.
Okay,
Right,
this is the
that's indirect.
way of
Rather than saying, like,
you should do it.
yeah. Huh?
Thank you.
No, so yeah. I mean, there's ways, there's many ways, right? Even in forget about Dharma for a second, right? But like, even like, I don't know, let's just say, we had the wonderful snacks. Did you guys get plates or napkins or something? Then, yeah, okay. Okay. You get the plate with a nice cake and all that, okay? Then like after the teaching, like you see, okay, Nishita just leaves her plate and her dirty napkin just there, like on the floor. Okay? So you can either say, Nishita, the heck are you doing? Will you throw your plate away? Do you think this is, does your mother work here or something? You can do something quite rude, right? Do you think your mother works here? Right? Or you can just say, without calling anyone out by name, hey, guys, okay, and then you could say, please throw away your plates. Or even better, oh, it'd be wonderful if we could all throw away our plates. Something like this. Right? You guys, come on. Even if you had to single her out, you'd be like, oh, Nishita, are you done? Did you want some more cake? Because the cake is finished already. I'm sorry. So there's no need to save your plate. And we can give you a plate the next time you come here next month, so you don't have to leave it on the floor. There's many ways. You get my point? Okay. And by the way, this is actually one of the other reasons you need to become a Buddha. To know when to do it the strong way, the medium way, or the soft way. In general, for me, see, for the people I don't know very well, this is my thought, okay? You start with a soft way, right? Because people don't like to be criticized. If that doesn't work, then you can, turn up the volume, or do other things. You get me? Okay. What's your name?
Renuka.
Renuka. Okay. That's easy to remember. Okay, so now, benefit number 7. You accomplish whatever you wish. Okay? So this all is coming in kind of related, right? Because, see, the fundamental cause for success, whether it is in our worldly life or our spiritual practice, is merit, good karma, right? And so, having developed in the mind of bodhicitta, you've purified all your negative karma, which can cause obstacles. You develop all this positive karma, so you get success. 8, the flip side of that. You're not bothered by harm or hindrances, okay? Because you've purified. Not only that, but you see, in general, right? If you're very compassionate, good-natured, nice, it's harder for others to find fault with you, pick fights with you, in general, right? Okay. Number 9, you soon complete the entire path and its levels. Okay. What's that?
Pardon?
You quickly, you soon complete the entire path and its levels. The entire path means the path to full enlightenment. And so, anyway. And then 10, you become a fertile source of every happiness for other beings. Okay? And there's 2 ways that happens. 1, of course, once you become a Buddha, you're able to teach and benefit others in the best way. So you lead them to enlightenment that way. And then, of course, even before you're a Buddha, you can still teach as well as you can. Try, But also, this other thing with the becoming a supreme object of offering, right? So, when you're a bodhisattva, then even the people that give you a glass of water, or 1 samosa, or 1 piece of cake, whatever, then they get like immense benefit from that. Which, by the way, in the Bodhisattva vows, there's a vow, to accept invitations, right? Because if you do it with a bodhicitta motivation, the motivation is, I'm going to accept this invitation not because I want the cake or coffee or whatever, but so I can give this other person an opportunity to collect merit in relation to me. Okay. So, 10 benefits of bodhicitta. We like? Everyone's still caught up on the 3 countless great eons. Yeah. She's like, if it was 16 lifetimes versus, 24, I could do maybe 50% more lifetimes. Right? See. Okay. So now, let us we're going to go back to what should we do now? Okay. So you know what? Let us finish the first chapter of the root text here at the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. Yeah? So this is the part, if we're going back to the outlines, right? There's 2a, explain the benefits of Bodhicitta. Okay? So I'm on the 6th verse of the first chapter, right? Oh, we already did that. So 7th verse. All the Buddhas who have contemplated for many eons have seen it to be beneficial, for by it the limitless mass of beings will quickly attain the supreme state of bliss. Okay, here, seen it means seen bodhicitta to be beneficial. You know, the great Indian master, Atisha, then it is said that when he was in Bodh Gaya, the place where the Buddha, historical Buddha, was enlightened, there's now a big stupa there. And on the stupa, or around the stupa, there's different statues. And he heard two of the statues having a conversation. Okay, this is how the story goes. And then one asked, oh, well, how does one most quickly attain the state of enlightenment? You know, what should one do if one wishes to quickly attain enlightenment? And the response was, they must train in bodhicitta. Okay? So, and then I think he might have seen Tara, or a statue of Tara, who also gave the same advice. You know, if you wish to attain enlightenment quickly, you must practice bodhicitta. So, because of that, then Atisha was very motivated to receive the teachings on bodhicitta, and not only receive the teachings, but cultivate the practice. And so he then inquired as to which teachers have the complete lineage of the teachings on bodhicitta. And then there was a teacher in present-day Sumatra called, they call him Serlingpa. Serlingpa, it means actually the Golden Isle, right? So I don't think that was his real name, but since he was from that island, there's a lot like this, right? Like Songkhapa, right? Songkha is like an onion patch. So Songkhapa is the one from the onion patch. Okay, there's a lot of this back then. Anyway, so Atisha then, he set off to go to Sumatra to meet Lama Serlingpa and receive these teachings. So it is said that he then took a boat for 13 months to arrive at the destination. 13 months seems like a long time, but apparently there's many storms. They got blown off course. I don't know. The point for us yeah. This is an example of when I was more direct. I don't know if you saw the teaching announcement. Did you see the teaching announcement for this? No? How did you hear about this?
Events high.
Huh?
Events high. It's an art.
Oh.
Cut and paste.
Wow.
Events high.
I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I'm behind the times. Anyway, in it, you know, the people who sent out the teaching announcement, they wrote, you know, if you're in the area, come. And, you know, it is said when the Buddha was giving the Prajaparamita teachings in Vulture's Peak in Rajgriha, you know, bodhisattvas would come from like across the universe to receive the teachings. You know? You understand? Okay, then, you know, Atisha going 13 months in a boat, right? Is very, very much worth it, right? Anyway, I made a bit direct criticism to the people, just to point out that is a little bit
low expectation.
Well, you know, it makes it seem like, you know, it's like, you know, if you're in the area, yeah, come over and see my new, like, yeah, car, you know.
It's the way how we look at it.
Very casual.
What if it's, no, it was just to my head. What if it's seen in the context of, say, Bangalore, the difficulty to reach from one place to another, the work conditions and everything. So in that context, if someone is saying very politely, if you're around, why don't you? I'm just wasting a Saturday. Come over. So what if it is seen through the lens of compassion?
I guess it goes from their point of view. So that won't fly with Venerable Namjong.
No. Then you don't understand. No. See.
I thought about that.
Okay. Remember. The precious human rebirth is so rare. Okay? The Buddha's teachings are rare. Then, even amongst the Buddhist teachings, the teachings on the Mahayana, even more rare than the rare. Okay? So, you know, it could be, I don't know, actually. Maybe the Buddha would know. The Buddha would know, right? But if we've ever received, the new people here, if we've ever received teaching, the full teachings on Bodhicitta before, since beginningless time in samsara, has that ever happened? Not sure. Right? Remember, even to attain a perfect human rebirth, remember the turtle? The turtle? Yeah, you remember, right?
No, the turtle.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, this is just for our other newcomers. Okay. There's an analogy to get even a precious human rebirth like this. Right? Okay? Imagine the whole world is covered with ocean. Okay? And it might be soon if we don't do something about global warming, but anyway. Then on the surface of the ocean, there's a yolk, but you know, like what goes on the ox, right? A golden yolk that's kind of bobbing up and down. Then in the ocean is a turtle, a blind turtle, who every 100 years, the Buddha likes to talk about things happening every 100 years.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Okay? Every 100 years, the turtle comes up for air. Okay? Alright. So, what is the chance that the turtle comes up for air and the neck is in the yolk? Happens a lot? Okay, no. So even more rare is to get a precious human rebirth. Okay? Then, we even look in this world. Okay? The Buddhist teachings in general are in decline, but even among the Buddhist teachings, you know, all these countries, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma, Laos, and so forth, right? The so-called, well, we don't put them down, but you know, they have the Mahayana teachings have not spread there, right? So to receive teachings on how to cultivate bodhicitta, it's you know, is rarer than the rare. It'd be like, you know, the turtle comes up in that, right? And then not only that, but what? Like, just happens like a nice wave comes, and then the turtle somehow like popped up onto the yoke and is able to surf in. You know, surf into shore. You understand? So, then you put it in this context. What is the real compassionate thing to do?
Not be bothered about that tagline. It's like, if you're in the area, it's okay. That's just my
Well, no. So, look. I mean, come on. You guys know, right? Like, okay, the kid comes home from school and wants to play Xbox, right? Is the compassionate thing, let them play Xbox or make them do their homework? Homework, right? So, in my opinion, you know, if you can fly, drive, walk, crawl, right, to receive these teachings on bodhicitta, then by all means do it. Or, you know, whatever the else, you know, you can even conceive of doing, you know, on your Saturday, yeah, coming to this teaching is infinitely more beneficial. So don't even think about, you know, just wipe out whatever you have on your calendar, right? You're gonna meet. You have a date with. Who do you guys like? He's married. Oh my gosh. Okay, fine. You have a, okay, then we wouldn't call it a date. You have a meeting with Obama, right? You call him up and you say, sorry, Barack, I'm going to teach him on bodhicitta. You get my point? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Get me?
Sorry. Did I,
This year cake SJ 25. Yes, sir.